that sound, too. Yeah, rain coming on down. Good day to spend inside or watch the Weather Channel. Do both, absolutely. But if you do have to go out and about, bring the rain jacket with you and know that you could have some dangerous lightning out here. Let's light it up in terms of the severe potential that extends from the Windy City clear down to the plains that we're talking about. Amarillo, Woodward, Oklahoma City. For some of you, you're dealing with it right now. For others, it's going to be kind of backloaded later on into the afternoon and evening where you're going to have the rain beginning to pick up. But there's the engine, that curl right there. That's the upper level low that is going to be the big catalyst that's going to help drive it. Oh, big catalyst. I mean, there's going to be many things that are going to be a factor in this. The moisture content in the atmosphere, the daytime heating, jet stream's going to play a part. So really, there is more than just one big catalyst. But you could say that's the big machine. But here's the big machine it's going to make. All right, a lot of rain going from Davenport to Des Moines. Making that drive, as you go westbound, the conditions will improve. You go eastbound, this is going to be in the rearview mirror. It's going to follow you. And sure enough, we follow that line of storms going from Kansas City into Springfield, Carthage, getting a share of rain there, too. All I can tell you in Kansas City is you're going to see a bit more. I know some of you that live in Kansas City, what a great town. You feel like you're about to sprout gills, right, because of all the rain you've had. Well, you'll see more, unfortunately, tonight, too. Low-lying areas could be compromised by rising water, so keep that in mind. Yeah, every town in America has got a place in the community where water tends to collect, where the water is just piles up in low-lying areas. Those spots are going to be tested as we go forward in time. The test for today from Wichita to Oklahoma City to Amarillo starts off innocently enough. I mean, you can feel the moisture content in the air, but visually you look around and you don't see much in terms of cloud cover. Give it time, because we go forward into, say, the 5 o'clock hour. These are going to be just erupting across the landscape and sure enough producing the heavy rainfall. Shamrock, Texas, you're going to get your share of it as you get to the midnight hour and beyond. And notice eventually past midnight into the early morning, the story continues. And it looks like Oklahoma City, if you're making the westbound drive on 40, could run into some heavy rainfall. Hail, another feature you're going to have to deal with. I know we're throwing a lot of stuff at you. So are these clouds and possibly some hail that could be up to 2 inches or greater in diameter. Something to definitely consider as we go forward in time. Now, let's send it back over to Alex.
All right, thanks so much, Reynolds, as we deal with the threat for some storms a bit farther to the south over the coming days. But boy, here in Nebraska, they were firing up. Look at this time-lapse view of the clouds that were spinning and kind of rotating. You can clearly see that here in Taylor, Nebraska. It's about 215 miles west of Omaha. There were reports of 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts and even rainfall that got to the order of 4 inches. Yeah, so a lot of heavy rain, some gusty winds as well. As you can see, this is a storm churning and spinning its way there in Nebraska. Well, watch the skies yet again as we head on into the mid part of the week on our Wednesday. Some of those storms could pack a bit of a punch. It's a bit farther south here in terms of the state of Nebraska, but nonetheless, southern Missouri working all the way back even into West Texas. We do have that risk tomorrow for some strong and potentially severe storms. Wind and hail, I'd say the primary risks, but can't completely rule out an isolated tornado. And you'll see how things start to really get going here for us. There'll be some ongoing rain through the early afternoon to the evening, and then more developing back towards the south and the west. You see some of those storms not too far from Fort Stockton, just south of Lubbock. This is as we get to Wednesday night, and then that area slides towards the south and east. More storms up into Oklahoma as well, even as we get into the overnight hours past the midnight period. Amarillo, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, we'll be seeing some storms here just east of town. I think the better shot for the storms that'll be the friskiest farther to your south. Again, just around Lubbock. This is as we get to about the 6 o'clock hour. Then we'll see some more showers moving just there, close to the state line there with Oklahoma. And that's, again, as we head toward the early morning hours of our Thursday. Not only are we facing the risk for severe weather, but also watch for the heavy rain. Anywhere in that green zone here from Wednesday into Thursday morning, we've got the risk for some flash flooding. So that's a risk that we certainly are going to be watching for very closely, noticing the rainfall getting a chance to add up. Going through Thursday, there's a zone that stands out. Southern Kansas into Oklahoma, darkest shade of the green, 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. But then the yellow areas, watch for 3 to 5 inches of rain to come down. So, again, that could add up quite a bit. Your mid part of the week here in Oklahoma City, not looking so bright. We've got thunderstorm activity through at least Wednesday night, but there is some light at the end of the sort of stormy tunnel. That comes on Thursday in OKC. A beautiful day, 72 degrees, some early morning clouds, but Reynolds, by the afternoon, the sun should be out. Speaking of sun, the Sunshine State, where some of us may not see too much sunshine.
Yeah, it is not as normally advertised. Sunshine State not living up to its billing. These storms, it's just slamming Southwest Florida. Heavy rain and hail hit the Fort Myers area. You can hear it. It sounds loud, doesn't it? Listen in. Yeah, quite the ruckus to say the very least. Those hailstones came down, but also coupled with 63-mile-an-hour gusts. So certainly a loud and noisy time, and we could see more of that unfolding out of the atmosphere. So let's hop to it, right? Or swim to it, as it were, because we get a lot of warm water out there. And in terms of precipitable water at this point, this really tells you where you have a pretty saturated air mass, right? For much of the Yucatan, of course, our friends in Mexico dealing with it, the opposite out towards the Four Corners, but plenty of it in the Western Caribbean. Now, we've got something else swimming out there, this area of high pressure. Atlantic Ridge is going to bring more of that, I guess, conveyor belt action and bringing the moisture from west, or rather from east to west, and eventually lashing on the coast of Florida. And here it goes. We already have the showers that are coming down. We go forward in time into the early afternoon. West Palm Beach down to Miami. Look at that. Into the Everglades, the rain is coming down like staccato drum beats. And I'll tell you, Alligator Alley is one place that could certainly be affected by the heavy rain and the ponding. We go into the evening hours before these begin to move over the dry Tortugas, which won't exactly live up to their name today. Not very dry. You'll have plenty of moisture out there. And here's where you can come down up to an inch in some places. Notice now, this is why we always tell you to check back in, because these models are constantly updating. The last couple of runs did not show the heavy rainfall here in South Florida, but now it's showing the potential of maybe up to 3 in some locations. But also the suggestion exists that just north of Tampa, not far from Ybor City, you could see a few places here or there where you have maybe 2 inches of rainfall. So it certainly could happen. If you're underneath one of these big storms that fires up, sometimes it feels like the whole world is coming to an end. I mean, it's just a collapse of the rain coming down. Unfortunately, here's what could go up. We're talking the water on your roadways, especially from West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Homestead. A1A, parts of 95 could be compromised. And notice the time range going all the way from Tuesday morning through Wednesday morning, 24-hour period where you could be dealing with treacherous conditions out there. So just keep that in mind. So again, that's your culprit, your area of high pressure. But we go westbound to see the problem that could be moving eastbound. And more on that, let's send it back over to Alex.
Yeah, it's that time of the year where we really got to pay attention to what's happening in the tropics. I mean, we've already had one entity, and let's focus in on that. Agatha, right, moved into Mexico as a hurricane. Well, it is now the remnants of Agatha, but it is still around and bringing some rain to that zone. The remnants will continue to drift north and eastbound and potentially help to form something else. Southern Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean. In fact, National Hurricane Center is giving that zone about a 60% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone. But there is sort of what happened with Agatha making that landfall during the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock there in Mexico as a Category 2 hurricane. Winds at that time were 105 miles per hour. And again, now we're talking about the remnants of this hurricane. Again, the winds, not the issue at this point, but the rain that is coming down. That's going to be what we see continuing to impact us here across southern Mexico and into Central America as well. The European model shows you some of that heavy rain, but also sees and shows some of that heavy rain moving towards the north and the east. So that sort of gives you an approximation of whatever this entity is and the rainfall footprint moving closer towards the lower 48. So we'll have to certainly keep an eye on things. The GFS model has that area of heavier rain actually shunted a little bit farther to the south. So it kind of takes a little bit more of a southern track of this area of potential trouble into western Cuba and stays south of Florida. Certainly subject to change. We'll be fine-tuning that forecast here for us. But for now, National Hurricane Center is watching this area of potential development. 60% chance somewhere in this hatched area here for us over the next 5 days or so. At the very least, though, watch some of that moisture here for us, which will be, again, bringing in heavy rain. Watch for some flooding, mudslide issues there, southern Mexico into Central America, eventually moving its way on into Cuba, where there could be some heavy downpours as well. And again, some of that moisture tries to lift northbound up into even Florida. So when we look at the European model, all the deeper shades of the oranges and the reds moving north and eastbound, making its way up to Florida as we head to the end of the weekend, as we move into the weekend as well. GFS model doesn't bring it as far towards the north, but again, that's now. That could certainly be changing as we head on through the coming days.
What's going to be interesting is see the interaction with land. If it stays over some open water, this energy, and it can avoid much of the Yucatan and avoid Cuba, then we just have to watch it.
I think that's the key. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, as that heats up, a lot of people experiencing some heat, and maybe the offices where some people want to be to do just that, to beat the heat. Parts of the Northeast are going to be sweltering today. Yeah,
some of that heat follows what was a pretty stunning start to the summer here for us, at least unofficial start. Meteorologist Kelly Cass takes us on a trip along the eastern seaboard.
Sand, sun, surf, and Coney Island's world-famous hot dogs. It's perfect. It's beautiful.
And Nathan's.
Delicious.
Eat, have fun, pretty much, you know.
Try a little bit of everything. I got cheese fries.
Traditional Memorial Day fun on the Coney Island Boardwalk in New York. Up the shore in Connecticut, food truck festivals. And arts and crafts for sale.
We did good yesterday. It was really nice.
But people at Connecticut's Silver Sands Beach got turned away until parking spaces opened up.
But I don't have a timeline on when that will be.
A transportation crunch at the nation's airports, too.
We started getting email messages saying, you know, your flight has been changed. Now the gate is changed. We won't get home until about 2 o'clock in the morning. So.
Some 7,000 flights canceled over the long holiday weekend. Bad weather and airline staff shortages get most of the blame.
This does not bode well for the summer season. It's going to be challenging. If you don't have the pilots or the staff and there's a weather event and those pilots are not necessarily where the aircraft can fly, you start to see just how intricate of a system this is that we've kind of grown accustomed to.
As pandemic restrictions ease, travel experts expect a blockbuster, if not bumpy, summer season.
Sometimes it's weather, or sometimes they don't have like a reason behind it. So it's like I'm ready to go. I'm tired of sitting here.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that the frustrating part about traveling,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Well, hopefully you had a more relaxed time over the weekend. And we were asking you about that here. That's our question of the day. We want to know how you spent that 3-day weekend here with the Memorial Day, chiming in and letting us know. We certainly appreciate that. We've seen some great comments, so keep coming in.
Oh, no doubt. It's interesting, some of the responses that we have had today about how you have a lot of people that were, you know, it was obviously time for friends and for family. And then other people, it was just, hey, you know, got things got to do.
Yeah.
Sticking to the jobs.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get you into the out there here and focus in on this up-and-coming weekend. Some great events that'll be taking place. We head to Portland, Oregon for the Country Fest 2022. That's happening on Saturday, so country music fans getting out there and rocking out a bit. Just be prepared for some shower activity to deal with that here during the concert. You can see that forecast here starting around noon with the shower activity through the early evening.
Yeah, got Parmalee, Blanco Brown, Tennille Arts, and Priscilla Block. Alex and I celebrate their entire collection. Great group.
Why is it your grocery order arrives the second you remember everything you forgot to order? Like, without fail.
Who drank all the milk?
Fresh groceries and more. Unlimited free delivery, Walmart Plus.
Kellogg's Homestyle Rice Krispies Treats.